Hey, look, we're not all jerks. Some of us are good guys, too. Yo, what is up, guys? Bobo here with BrassReel Brothers. Thanks for coming back for some more popcorn. This week's video, starting off the John Hughes Marathon with 16 Candles from 1984. Written and directed by John Hughes. So this was John Hughes' first film. And if you guys are familiar with John Hughes, you probably know, but if you don't know, he was the king of the 80s. He definitely harnessed the feeling of all teenagers at the time, and even now teenagers can watch his movies and feel some sort of validation for their lives and what they're going through. He had a very good way of connecting with that hardcore, and when you watch those movies, especially if you grew up in the 80s, they're wildly nostalgic. I mean, like literally every time I watch a John Hughes movie, I get this warm and fuzzy feeling inside that makes me feel like I was back in the 80s, and like I was in that adolescent period of my life. And what was really cool about John Hughes' approach to movies is they were always set in sort of this everyday life culture, this Midwestern culture, always set in around the Chicago area.
I hate that rock and roll rubbish.
I guess that's where he grew up and he was very familiar with that. And it was quite a switch that we had seen from a lot of movies at that time where they're all LA based. Now everything was either New York or LA based. Nothing was ever showing a true piece of the pie of Americana right in the heartland, places like Illinois. That was something right off the bat that could connect you with him and his movies. And not just this movie, but all of his movies did this. And anytime you see anyone's home in this, it's always a perfect depiction of the 80s, anybody's cars, the cliques that they focused on. It was really, really good at focusing on all the different cliques that are going on in high school. Because let's face it, that happens. As much as we don't like it, and we don't like the fact that sometimes people get segregated out of groups just because they're not fitting in properly, that does go on in high school. It's just a part of life. We all went through it if you were in high school. All of his movies never really had much of an exposition, whereas people like Spielberg like to really let you get to know these characters in the beginning of the film, kind of paint the picture of who they are and what they're doing. John Hughes films just tossed you into sort of a life in the day of, or a specific situation or moment that something was going on. It was never about establishing the characters right off. His movies were about getting to know the characters through an experience, through something they're going through, and usually it takes place within a day, a couple days, or like a weekend or something. So you don't really feel like you know the characters in his movies until like the credits are going up essentially, and then you're like, you know what? I went through something with these characters and now I know them. And that's the point of his films. I love that about his movies. It starts out feeling just like Ferris Bueller / Home Alone. They're showing the inside of this Midwestern family in this home, and it's a huge family, so they're all fighting over the bathroom and things like that, and they're trying to get ready for stuff. Molly Ringwald is the main character of the movie, along with Anthony Michael Hall and Michael Schoeffling. Molly Ringwald wakes up and it's her birthday. The whole premise is that her family has forgotten her birthday, and she's got a crush on this guy, Jake Ryan. The main reason the family is forgetting her birthday is because her sister is getting married, and it's just completely overshadowing her day. And mind you, the sister's not getting married to the next day, but this day is Molly Ringwald's birthday. Just like any John Hughes movie, the music is phenomenal. All of his movies, the music was done by a guy named Ira Newborn. Very good at making that 80s score that I really love. If you think about Breakfast Club and Ferris Bueller's Day Off even, you'll notice it very electronically driven, not a whole lot of symphonies or anything like that going on with it, much more of that new wave sound that was happening in the 80s. I love it. But pretty much John Hughes used Ira Newborn. The score is awesome, but not just that, all the songs that are in there are great too. All just a real sign of the times back then. It really just takes you right back and makes you feel like you're in high school in the 80s. One of the reasons I thought it'd be a good idea to do these John Hughes movies is because it can kind of take us back to a simpler time. A time where we all were going to some sort of either high school or a job on a daily basis. You know, now we're all stuck inside, or we're just afraid to do anything, or everything's closed. I thought that this would be sort of a way to kind of connect with that side of life that we don't really get to connect with right now, especially with kids going back to school or not going back to school. And this movie's full of that. It's showing you all the things in high school that you remember and love, the nervousness of going in, all the different cliques, you know, the jocks over here, the geeks over here. It shows Molly Ringwald inside of her classroom. They're passing notes to each other, you know, so they can talk. You know, nowadays people would text. But then, you know, you actually passed notes. And I remember when I was a kid growing up, if I had a girlfriend and she had a note ready for me to read what I got in class, oh my God. That was the highlight. It was like a roller coaster. Every day I got a note, it was like a roller coaster. I loved it. Yeah, that's right. I was a pimp in high school. Not really. For the longest time when I was a little kid, I thought that Michael Schoeffling was actually Matt Dillon when I looked at the cover of that. When I saw the movie as a little kid, I didn't pay attention to who that actor was playing Jake Ryan. And then later on, when I knew who Matt Dillon was, for some reason I just put the pieces like, oh yeah, that's him in 16 Candles. Not till like 10 years ago when I had watched this movie again did I realize it wasn't Matt Dillon. Having not seen this movie in like 10 years and rewatching it now, man, it's all about sex. Like straight up all about sex. And the fact that they missed her birthday. But man, there's so many, like, it just reminds you that the 80s humor was so much raunchier. So many things were able to fly. And it was a different time. Another thing this movie did back then that nobody thought anything of, but now rewatching it, I kind of had to second guess it, is the character of Long Duck Dong. While I watched it growing up thinking it was hilarious, now with a lot of things brought to light, you kind of feel bad at laughing some of these stereotypes, but the beauty about this movie and John Hughes in general is he didn't make fun of a stereotype to make fun of the stereotype. He made fun of all stereotypes to sort of paint this picture of what was going on, something that we all actually would deal with on a daily basis. So the character of Long Duck Dong, while you might be laughing at some of the things about the character and some of the things about his accent and the way he talks, the character's got a really great arc in the movie. He actually gets to come over here, experience the American dream, hooks up with a chick, and gets a lot of respect from other people. And if you watch the movie, he's never treated badly. Nothing is ever done wrong to him. In fact, they all embrace him and love him in the movie. But in the time that we live in now, it is kind of weird when you're watching this stuff. You have to second guess when you're watching it. Can I be laughing at this? But I'm gonna get off of that. I just thought I had to mention that about this movie because it is in it. But back to the raunchiness. This is a PG movie and it's got boobs in it, like in the very beginning, and it's a close-up shot. I mean, not that I'm hating on it or anything. I just had a hard time believing this was a PG movie, and it was really a lot about sex. And Anthony Michael Hall's character in this, he's super lovable, and he was actually one of two golden boys that John Hughes had. The second one being John Candy, and Anthony Michael Hall was sort of his golden boy at the early part of his 80s career. And then John Candy was sort of the golden boy at the latter part of his 80s career. But he used both of those guys a lot. He loved them. And that's what I like about John Hughes. You could tell in his movies that he didn't just use these actors and cast members because they fit the mold. He used them because he loved them and he developed relationships with them. And any good director really does that. Any good director can see past just the talent and see something more inside the person that's going to make the film good. But Anthony Michael Hall is a little twerp in it, but he's lovable. You can't help him. He's just a little, just like any other adolescent kid growing up. He's like 14, I think, in this movie. His character is. You also get one of his friends as part of the geek trio is John Cusack, and his sister's in it, Joan Cusack. She plays the girl with the neck brace, and they always do this funny stuff with her, showing her not being able to drink. She can't drink beer at the party. She can't drink water out of the water fountain. She's always just like having trouble with her neck brace. And again, back then, technology wasn't what it is today. People wore crazy neck braces and back braces and weird, mouth retainers that they had to keep on to school. That's just how it was in the 80s. And that stuff existed, and that's why it's kind of painting that picture. I don't think it was specifically making fun of any group. I think it was literally just making fun of the fact that look at all these different stereotypes that are in high school. But the mom and dad forget the birthday, the aunt and uncle forget the birthday, the grandparents forget the birthday, and I love the line when Molly Ringwald is just like,
I swear to God, this has got to be a joke. Grandparents forgetting a birthday? They live for that shit.
One of my favorite things with Long Duck Dong, though, is the part when he's in the tree looking for his girlfriend, and he's like, hey, sexy girlfriend!
Oh, sexy girlfriend!
I incorporate that now. I say that to all my friends, my guy friends, everything. I'll just be like, hey, sexy girlfriend! And Anthony Michael Hall does a really good job in this. Like, there's a scene where he's dancing around her at this dance at the school. While he's silly at times, but for the most part, he's really good in this movie, and he's pretty funny. And I like his character. I like that he's a good guy. That's another thing I like about Jake Ryan's character. The whole time Jake Ryan is trying to find out about Molly Ringwald. He's this rich kid who's dating this girl that's like super hot, she's the popular one in high school, and he's the popular one. And if you remember anything about high school, there was always that sort of like, if you were this popular and your parents had this much money, and you were a dude, and you were a girl, and you were this popular, and your parents had this much money over here, then y'all just should be together. It's kind of like the prom queen and king. I hate the fact that a prom queen could be up there with a prom king that wasn't her boyfriend. Hey, that's my girlfriend! But Jake Ryan is this like really nice guy. He really likes Molly Ringwald. He doesn't like the girl that he's with. And Molly Ringwald, she's like the girl next door. And let's face it, in the 80s, and even still to this day, Molly Ringwald is like the ultimate girl next door. Gorgeous, just a beautiful girl. Everything about her, I've always loved her as a kid and now. So I really like how this movie doesn't paint him out to be like a jerk. He's actually a good guy who likes her. He wants to treat her nice. Jake Ryan isn't a bad dude, and neither is Anthony Michael Hall's character. They're just guys growing up trying to figure it all out. But this dude that's got all the money and he's got all the popularity, all he really wants is something more complex in life. An actual girl that has something to offer besides what he's got with his girlfriend now, the popular girl, kind of the ditz, you know. But I like how they paint the picture that all dudes aren't bad. And Anthony Michael Hall is just trying to, you know, kiss her, take a shot at life, and when it doesn't work out, he just tries to do the right thing and help his buddy out and help her. And I like that about this movie. You know, sometimes people are just good people. And you know, once Anthony Michael Hall is once he finds out he's way too young for Molly Ringwald's character, which by the way, every young kid, a dude, when you start hitting that adolescent period, you have a crush on an older girl. That's just the way it is. I had one. I know if you're a dude watching this, you had that too, whether it be your babysitter or your teacher, something. And I love it. He's talking to her and she kind of opens up. Sort of this brother-sister relationship develops between them. He's like, yeah, you know, I never bagged a babe before. I'm not a stud. And she starts cracking up laughing. It's so adorable. I mean, you have to give it to the kid. He's just transparent as can be with this girl, which makes you like him so much. He's got nothing to lose and he's not trying to hurt anybody. He's just trying to get out there and live some life. The weird part is that she lets him borrow her panties. Again, the movies are way more about sex than you realize because he's in the bathroom bragging to all of his friends. He's like, look, I got her panties, and he's claiming that he did something with her. Pretty mature for PG. At this point of the movie, Molly Ringwald now, she's just like at the end of this one day, and her dad has this talk with her, like, I'm so sorry, babe, I forgot your birthday. We all forgot. And you know, you're like, oh, great. The parents are apologizing. Then he didn't say like, but here's what we're gonna do to make it up to you or nothing. He just said, happy birthday, bastard. What I love about this movie is that it works out for everybody. Anthony Michael Hall gets the girl because him and Jake Ryan are talking, and Jake Ryan's telling him like, look, I don't even like my own girlfriend. I like Samantha Baker, Molly Ringwald. Anthony Michael Hall is like, dude, I can make this happen, and they rearrange this whole thing, and he ends up hooking up with his girlfriend. So it's like a 14-year-old hooking up with a high schooler. I guess back then that stuff was all right though. You didn't think anything of it then, but now I'm watching it now and I'm just like, ooh, a little randy. But I love it when they're coming out of the wedding and then the bride's all messed up. She kicks her shoe off, it's all, and she's like jumping at the rice for like a seal because she's all jacked up on muscle relaxers. She's all, John Hughes was really good about sliding in parody moments and slapstick here and there without it really taking away from the film or the tone that you were already in. And then of course all the cars drive away, Molly Ringwald walks out, she's all depressed, and Jake's waiting for her right there. And I love it. Jake's a badass, he's super cool. I love that it does that. It's just really happy all the way around, and it kind of makes you just feel that warmthness of high school. Remember when you liked a girl or you liked a guy? That whole newness about those high school situations and life in general. Everything was such a first time, you know, when you first kissed a girl, or when you first held a girl's hand, any of that stuff, first went to your first party. And John Hughes does a great job in this movie of achieving that and making you feel that time again. And then they finally go back to celebrate her birthday. Jake and Samantha get to celebrate together. It's the only thing that she ever really wanted, and while having to withstand everyone forgetting her birthday, she actually got more than she ever wanted. Her dream guy that she didn't think liked her. So they're doing that classic scene when they're with each other and they're about to kiss over the cake. It's got the 16 candles on it. I mean, that scene literally is a classic cinematic scene. So 16 candles? Nostalgic popcorn right there. It definitely holds up. It's a good movie. It has some things that are a little dated in it, as far as some things that aren't cultural sensitive enough, but overall it's intended to be a lighthearted film, and it just really is a great blast of the past of 1984 in my opinion. Well guys, thank you so much for tuning in. I'm gonna start trying to make these videos a little nicer, tighter, and shorter than they have been. Those first 10 movies were just my hugely influential films that I wanted to start off with. Kind of wanted to break those down more and go through them. From now on, I'm just gonna be doing more of how it impacted me, what I like about the movie, what I don't like about the movie, and why it's so nostalgic, or why it does or doesn't hold a special place in my heart. I'm starting to gain a little traction here with some subscribers, so be sure to hit the like and subscribe button down below if you're digging what you see, and share it with your peeps. Tune in for part 2 of the John Hughes Marathon, The Breakfast Club, with my man, Judd Nelson. Be sure to look for us on Facebook, BrassReel Brothers, and BrassReel Bobby. You can find me on Twitter, BrassReel Bobby at BrassReel. And remember guys, life gives you lemons, make some hot fresh popcorn. See ya.
Thanks for getting